welcome. Today we're gonna be talking about Webb adds another ringed world with new image of Uranus. I don't know why the fuck they call this nigga that. It's only when it's only when like people with certain accents say Uranus, so it's like it don't sound as bad and shit. But for a month, let me out, yeah. But it's right here. Uranus, it's got a new set of rings, big rings. So essentially, Uranus was seen to have 11 rings. The 11 rings were seen in visible light. Now there's 2 other rings that you could only see in an ultraviolet light. So now Uranus has 13 rings with 11 of them in the visible spectrum. Now Uranus is already a unique planet because it spins 90 plus degrees on its plane of orbit, and not only is its axis of tilt or axis to the plane of the sun tilted 97 degrees, its magnetic field is tilted too, just like Earth. So that's not really too much of a discrepancy or too unique in itself as a feature. But Uranus has a very interesting magnetic field. The Uranian magnetic field is actually seen on one side as a dipole, and then on the other side it's seen as you could call it a quad pole, because it's got four poles on one side. And another weird thing about Uranus's magnetic field is that it turns on and off. So I don't know if it's constantly going through a magnetic reversal. I don't know. It's a lot of complications. This is one of the planets, the coldest planet in our solar system, and it's one of the planets that rain diamond as Saturn does. So probably at the bottom you'll see ice glaciers, just diamond glaciers, you know what I'm saying, like just due to the compressed carbon. But essentially the 13 rings that we're seeing, I mean, Uranus has 27 moons. Its atmosphere is mainly composed of, like, I believe it's 80 to 82% hydrogen, about 15% helium, and around 2 to 3% methane. But Uranus's rings in order is the 6 ring, the 5 ring, 4 ring, then you got the alpha beta, you got the eta or eta, then you got gamma delta, then you got lam, then you got epsilon. So comparing to Saturn's ring, Saturn's 7 major ring systems, they're not as, I guess you would say, showing, but they still hold some features to them, and they still are unique in themselves due to the material that's inside. It's often known that, or it's often believed that Uranus's rings are made due to not particle bombardment, but due to meteorite and planet collisions within the Neptune, or I keep saying Neptune, but within the Uranus little system. But Uranus, like I say, it's real cold over there, negative 353 degrees, around that type of temperature range. Ammonia, methane, ice crystals make up the atmosphere cloud compositions. It's a lot that goes into Uranus, or Uranus. I'm saying Uranus, man. But pretty much it being at a 90-degree tilt, facing where its pole is damn near facing directly at the sun, the extreme amount. See, while I go through the rest of the solar system, like when it comes to tilts, Mercury has a 0, Venus has, I believe it's a 3, Earth has 23%, 23.5 around there. Mars has a 25% tilt. Earth, Mars, Saturn, Mars. Jupiter has about I believe it's a 3% tilt. Saturn has around a 26 to 28% tilt. Let me see, Saturn, Uranus, we just talked about 97% tilt. And then you got Neptune with around a 26 to 28% axial tilt. So really the main ones that you see with no tilt is Mercury, Jupiter, and I believe Venus doesn't truly have a strong tilt either. Also, some moons in our solar system don't have strong tilts like Enceladus, moons of that nature, but the tilt is obviously important for seasonal comparisons and things of that magnitude. But just to talk about this slightly, or to read it just a little bit, the seventh planet from the sun, Uranus, is unique. It rotates on its side at nearly a 90-degree angle from its plane of orbit, causing extreme seasons. Since the planet's poles experience many years of consistent sunlight to the equal amount of years of consistent darkness, Uranus takes 84 years to orbit the sun. Yeah, Uranus is it's 2 times further from the sun than Saturn. Saturn gets, I believe, 5% the sunlight of Earth. I mean, let's be serious here. So, the infrared image from Webb's near-infrared camera combines data from 2 filters at 1.4 and 3.0 microns, shown in blue and orange, respectively. So, pretty much they had to tune their instruments to a certain degree in which it can pick up these by the millimeter, literally. Pick these reflections up that you could do this for another planet. Like if you put the 1.4, 3.0 and then add the same 2 filters, shine it on Jupiter, shine it on Uranus, or even not Uranus but Saturn. If you shine it on one of them, you might not see anything, because as you're about to see, each gas giant seems to have hidden rings, and these rings play a very important role in the characteristics that the planets hold, as you will see in a little bit. But when Voyager 2 looked at Uranus, its camera saw featureless, of course, at infrared waves, in which, let me tell you, even the lamest thing in this solar system, lamest planet, and anything they tell you is lame, it's not lame. I'm gonna just be Pluto. They've been dubbing Pluto out for years. they've been doing Pluto bad for years. Pluto has what it seems to be the tholins that it have. I don't know if it's nitrogen-based tholins. I don't know if it's what's the composition of the soon to be, you could even call them really biosignatures for life on Pluto. Tholins, things of that nature, kerogens, things that are able to live in rock and create certain subdivisions in the rock. Definitely easily done in sedimentary rock, but it's very important to understand, like, you're about this. Well, actually, I'll show you that in a little bit. It's cool. Let me see. So, the sensitivity of Webb's, okay, near infrared cam, and the long links, it can see no extreme, okay. Enhanced polar features of Uranus, powerful optical telescopes here. This planet is characterized as an ice giant because of its chemical makeup and interior. Like I said, it's highly composed of hydrogen, helium, and some methane. It also has other chemical constituents, but at a lesser known percentage than the other ones. Uranus has 13 known rings, like I said, 11 of them being visible. 9 are classed as main rings of the planet, and 2 are fainter dust rings. So that's pretty much a good little sum of what's going on with Uranus. The beautiful, strange, very, very strange. Even these planets that are seen on Uranus, planets that are seen, Ariel, you got Puck, you got Miranda, I believe Uranus has 27 moons, so it's funny how every gas giant just seems to be just picking up any and everything, and if not picking any and everything up, at least it's interesting for them to have such a wide variety of moons and satellites orbiting them, with Jupiter holding the crown at around 92, Saturn being in the 80s, around 83, now this one having 27, and our sun only having 9 main ones. That's quite funny. You should just tell us that we have about at least 300 more back there. If Jupiter's doing this, and I'm gonna make a video on Jupiter, I know I'd be saying that, but Jupiter acts up. It's been acting up since the beginning of the solar system. If you want to tell me that Jupiter can hold 90 something moons, and you counting rocks, orbiting rocks as satellites, things that wouldn't even be a mile or a few miles in diameter, you count those as moons, which you can, because essentially some of these rings, what ring systems do is they also build planets. That's why ring systems are important. So all the dust that's being picked up, like I actually don't believe any of the rings on Uranus are being made by any of the planets orbiting Uranus by some form of volcanic eruption, as of Enceladus and Saturn's E-ring, which is different in composition from Jupiter and Jupiter's ring that Io creates. And Io shooting out about a ton a second of material. Enceladus not doing a ton a second, but it's still at a very, very high range. The amount of electricity, I believe it's like on Io 1,000,000 megavolts. On Enceladus, slightly less. There's a lot that goes into it. Once these neutral particles are shot up, or these neutral molecules are shot up, they definitely get energized, interacting with Uranus's magnetic, not even Uranus, because it doesn't have planets that go through that, but say something like Saturn, interacting with Saturn's magnetic field and causing them to be supercharged. On here, Uranus just has its own stable fluctuation of dust and meteorite particles that have been bombarding each one another and creating the rings. Those can also be charged to a degree and sent on their way into Uranus, causing heating, but just not at the degree of Saturn, because Saturn's rings are just seen obsolete to any other ring system in the solar system, and the sheer amount of material in its ring system is actually quite ridiculous. But to keep it moving, we're going to talk about Saturn. NASA Space tell us we're going to talk about big rings today. I told her we're going to talk about big rings today. NASA Space Telescope discovers large ring around Saturn. This one, hey, if anything had me, this one had me. This shit right here, this is the biggest ring system seen on Saturn. As you can see, Saturn is a speck compared to the ring system. The new belt lies as far reaches from Saturn with an orbit tilted. This is another tilted object. With an orbit tilted 27 degrees from the main ring plane. The bulk of its material starts about 6 million kilometers, 3.7 million miles away from the planet, and extends outward roughly 12 million kilometers, 7.4 million miles. One of Saturn's furthest moons, Phobie, circles within the new that nigga Phobie, circles within the newfound ring and is likely source of its material. Very interesting. Now you gotta look into Phobie. My nigga Phobie. So Saturn's newest halo is thick too, with a vertical height of 20 times the diameter of the planet. Phobie must have went through some shit. For Phobie, I don't even think Phobie is like that. Does anybody? I don't even think Phobie is like that when it comes to size. So I don't really know, like Phobie ain't emitting these things through volcanic, you know what I'm saying, through volcanic eruptions or through certain like phases. It's not really, it seems to be from remnants of some sort of collision that happened. And let me see. Okay, the ring system itself is teeny, is made up of thin array of ice dust particles. The Spitzer infrared eyes were able to spot the glow of the band's cool dust. The telescope, launched in 2003, is currently 107 million kilometers, 66 million miles from Earth, in orbit around the sun. The discovery may have solved an old age okay, yeah, we're not even gonna do all that. So pretty much another interesting thing that they found is with Saturn's moon Lapis. One of the sides of the moon is darkened as it's plowed with the dust material newly discovered on the infrared ring. This dust material is also seen as what they call tholins. They believe it's tholins, the same thing that I had said is on Pluto, the thing that seems to give pigment to Pluto and give the red hue to Pluto. That's around the same thing that seems to be giving this green, this swamp green type of color to Lapis or Laptis. Now, obviously, these strong, heavy deposits of organic material over time can start to it will obviously start to synthesize with obvious certain mediums in the mix, whether it be the radiation, whether it be photolysis, whether it be not even photo disassociation, but things of the Benzenberg, things of not really photon production, but excitation processes that can help, I guess you would say, bind certain things together. But like I say, this is a very big ring. Hey, if she want some, like, hey, if she want, oh my god, I told her, you want a Saturn ring, man? Nah, that shit right. Hey, if it ain't an E ring, I don't know if I could do the P ring. We're gonna call this the P ring, the fold ring. This right here is crazy though, because you can't see it in visible light. It can only be seen in infrared. Same thing with the two rings found on Uranus, can only be seen in infrared. Saturn, the very, very beautiful, crazy ringed world that probably has more ringed worlds that we don't even know of. It's just weird to me how there's a gigantic space. They say that space in between Saturn and its rings have nothing in between. I don't know. I'm not gonna hold you. If it don't got nothing, I doubt that there's just nothing there, like nothing there. But from all the pictures that they show in visible light, they probably haven't found the right filter to get these particles to pop. But on to the next one, some more. Hey. So Saturn's rings have slowly been heating up its atmosphere. This one's very interesting in itself because this then starts to show you the excitement that's happening at Saturn. Saturn's magnetic field is very strong. Saturn's magnetic field is very different. Jupiter and Saturn are made up of a similar metallic hydrogen core. Now this metallic hydrogen, there's also some different names. Some people call it a different name of dark hydrogen. Some people say dark hydrogen is a completely different thing from metallic hydrogen, but pretty much they don't know anything about that shit. So regardless, it's hard for you to even make certain theories and come up with certain conclusions when you don't understand the mechanics of the internals and how it affects the external. So something like this right here, what I would see to believe, you see what I'm saying? Because they even found something, I'm gonna do a little video on the weirdness of Saturn, but they found one of its rings has something called spokes. Something called spokes. Now these spokes are very weird because through a mathematical equation they're supposed to be orbiting a certain way. Now these spokes are not orbiting the way that their counterparts are, and they're doing very weird things like defying gravity. Obviously strange in itself. Now this tells them that something else is happening, whether electromagnetically, seemingly it has to be an electrical process. More than likely, they say that the spokes are being affected by Saturn's magnetic field. You don't know what part of the magnetic field is causing this. You don't know if it's a connection line sort of or not really issue, but part, or if the connection line plays a part of it. You don't know if it's the radiation belt that plays a strong role in this. But Saturn itself, to digress, the ringed world that is known to be ringed due to the ice grains that it picks up, due to meteorite collisions, due to things of that nature that can bring in a lot of dust. So Saturn, it's very strange that you moving through the universe this quick. I'm talking to you, Saturn. Saturn, is very strange you moving through the universe this quick. You moving this quick and everything is intact. Niggas ain't got no There's one shepherd moon that they found. What is niggas talking about? So I need to know, why is everything such in synchronicity? Is there a sound? They've already seen that Saturn and Uranus have been singing to one another. Let me speak to you. You see what I'm saying? Saturn and Uranus, or not even Uranus, I'm tweaking. Saturn and Enceladus have been speaking to each other through plasma waves. These plasma waves were then kind of tuned to the human ear, because you can't hear that shit. So if you were around Saturn, on Saturn, in Saturn, you wouldn't hear the shit. You were on Enceladus, wherever you were around it, you wouldn't even hear it unless you had the instrumentation and the right frequency count to hear this. So this sound that's made between these two planets, I can only imagine what's made between the other planets. And the now harmonic rhythmic, it doesn't sound, to my ear, it sounds ET like. I mean, I don't think, it don't sound like a snare, it don't sound like an 808, it don't sound like, you know what I'm saying? It don't sound like hats. It don't sound. This shit don't sound like nothing. It sound like straight ET work. Like it don't sound like I can't. Yeah. So there's a lot of weird sounds in space, though. I'll probably make a compilation of weird space sounds, like the sun, sounds that the suns make. The sun sounds like a phoenix. I don't know if they took that image. I believe they took the recording when it was in the motion of a flare. So the sound that came out was seen to be, or was heard, golly, it hit me like a phoenix. I didn't know what was. I actually understood that one. Saturn, I didn't understand. You see what I'm saying? Saturn is different, but pretty much these rings have been seen to be heating certain surface points of Saturn, like the equator, the sub-equator, or like the poles, the sub-equator, things of that nature. It hasn't really been heating the equator due to the way that the tilt is and kind of due to the way that the particles fall. But these rings are very important. They're very strange. The amount of organics that are in the rings, like I say, that Saturn's E-ring is created by Enceladus. Saturn also has 7 main ring structures. So Saturn's rings kind of goes like, you got the D ring, you got the C ring, then you got the Maxwell gap, you got the B ring, then you got the Cassini gap, then I believe you got the A ring, then the Inkel gap, the Keelar gap, and then you got the F, G, and E ring. And these rings obviously composed of fine dust. These rings are composed of organic elements that come from these planets, that come from, like I say, collisions within planets. It's even known that, like we talked about over here, Lapis, this planet, has a orbital resonance with one of the rings on Saturn, the A ring. So I believe it's a 7-6 orbital resonance. So every time that, actually I don't believe, it's not, no, I'm lying to you. It's not Lapis, it's Janus. Janus, I'm sorry, everybody sounds the same. So Janus is the one with the 7-6 resonance with the A ring. And pretty much what that tells you is just resonancy. Just every 7 times this planet goes around Saturn, the particle cloud around Saturn also spins around 7 times, and it's seen that the particle shape is in the shape of a 6. So that's how they kind of were able to pinpoint the start of, I guess you would say, the ring, and map it around and see the resonances. But there's a lot of resonances going on with the Saturnian solar system, with the Jovian solar system. A lot of these things have resonances. Now, I'm told that certain resonances show imminent collision. So you are able to calculate, like something like Titan. They believe that it was moving away. It's actually moving away from Saturn right now. Let me actually. We gonna pull it up. Scientists thought that the rate. Look at it. So they were 100% wrong. Scientists thought that they knew the rate which the giant moon Titan was moving away from Saturn, but recently made the surprising discovery using data from NASA's Cassini Space Telescope, or the spacecraft, that they found it drifting 100 times faster than previously understood, about 4 inches, 11 centimeters per year. That imminent collision, this right here, Titan being, and Titan already goes through copious amounts of collisions, and we know what collisions can do to planets and making them habitable. Collisions of asteroids can not only diminish life, but it can bring life. Not only through bringing amino acids, bringing certain chemical composures and certain mediums into the planet, but it does a weird thing to they've been researching this, but it does a strange thing to the subsurface of planets when it's interacting with certain, whether it be an asteroid or whether it be a meteorite, whatever the case, I don't know, whatever you want to characterize it as, coming into the Earth's atmosphere, coming into the planet's atmosphere, and interacting with the rock on collision. There's certain things that happen that create even homes for certain bacteria that they found out. But as we digress, this was just to show you that these resonances, even you being at a strong resonance, it can even show that collision is imminent. It drifting away. Now you don't know where it's gonna be in 10 million years. It could have drifted away, caught some momentum from something else, and sling into the inner solar system, and now it's one of the inner worlds. And you already know it's an organic fiend, so you can't play with Titan when it comes to organics. You see what I'm saying? Titan is probably the second most organic, probably the first. If you want to count Earth, cool. You know what I'm saying? But it's probably second most organic in the solar system. You better stop playing with Titan. That's why Titan is scary. The haze on Titan, purely organic. There's a lot of things on Titan that make it, hey, something you shouldn't be playing with. But back to the big rings and big things, shit. These right here, boy. Jupiter being as big as it is, rings. I mean, Saturn being as big as it is, rings. I mean, Neptune and Uranus having rings. They've also found a planet back there. I don't know if I should do it right now. Man, fuck it. Might as well. Ringed. So this right here, as you can see, ring systems are let me see. What is this one? Yeah, this is the one. No, not even that. But essentially, there's a planet, trans-Neptunian planet, that they found. Its gravity shouldn't be able to hold rings. That's why I'm saying these rings should come from certain things. Now, there's a lot of observations that are being done with the rings. The rings have been seen on this planet to be stable. Now, the rings on this planet being stable also shows that, yes, there is something strange going on, because even if there was a collision, the rings should have dissipated due to the lack of gravity. Now, this being able to hold on now they have to see how old the rings are, see if it has been going through any radiation darkening, see the composition inside the ring to see if it's similar to the planet, similar to the moon around. If the planet has another moon, maybe it's around. Things of that nature that now you got to see. And then another thing now you got to do is you got to point your telescope. The same one that you pointed at my niggas, you got to point it at this other nigga. You got to point it at this guy back there, the trans-Neptunian object. You got to point it at him. Start clicking and messing and doing all the crazy shit that niggas be doing behind the, you know what I'm saying? Like, behind the Hubble space, behind the telescope, do all the clicking and whatever. Come up with your 1.4 microns, 1.7 microns, whatever. Come up with the right coordinates to where you can see new rings, because now that's what you got to do. Your shit ain't sweet enough to where you could just point it anywhere and it's nice. It sees in all spectrums. It sees in all varieties. You're not like that. This right here, though, something you might have to do that to. Shine, get the clicking. Hopefully you get it right. Might take a few million tries, but shit, you got the other two. But I mean, like I say, very, very strange, very, very strange. The Saturnian solar system, the beautiful Saturnian solar system, just showing us, I wouldn't say this is new, but it's new to us. See what I'm saying? This was happening 10 years ago, but we just, I mean, like, nigga, they say 40 years has been hiding in plain sight. What else hiding in plain sight, nigga? Y'all niggas, imagine a nigga tell it 40 years been hiding in plain. What the fuck else is hiding in plain sight, bro? That's what I tell you, gotta watch out for niggas like this. Jesus Christ, blind niggas. So, like I say, the Saturnian solar system, very, very interesting. As you can see, the rings, 7 major rings, talked about them. Some of the rings are fainter than others. Some of the rings are brighter than others. Even through spectrometers or certain magnetometers, you can kind of see that. I mean, certain rings and certain infrared can blind you from other rings, even looking like two rings in one. So it takes it takes a lot of fine re-enhancing of even the amount of work that you gotta do when it comes to space, bro. Really, you start to realize that about a lot of subjects. Almost every subject you could make complicated, but this right here, jeez, man, jeez. New rings, big things, shit. Big things coming for these planets. I don't know if shit. I don't know what's going on in the solar system for us to got so many rings, but ain't nobody know shit. I appreciate y'all niggas for watching. The Saturnian ring system, big rings. The Neptunian ring system, more rings. Appreciate y'all. I'm gonna see y'all niggas.